Let me bring this crisis and what it's doing to our souls and spirits a little closer to home. Everyone in this room has been hurt, one way or another, by the economic meltdown. Some of you are balanced on the precipice of financial ruin. And anyone among us with a 401k or IRA we've prudently been investing in year after year has lost up to half of his or her savings, shaking the foundations of the future and ripping apart long-expected retirement plans. Some of you have lost or deeply fear losing your jobs. Others who perhaps leveraged your future in the bubble as if it could only grow and never pop, find yourselves suddenly staggering under the weight of a debt you have no way to pay off. But you know all this. What you may not know is that almost independent of the level of difficulty in which you now find yourselves, some of you, perhaps unbeknownst to you, almost certainly unbeknownst to you, are in the midst of negotiating a passage that will prove, in some significant way, redemptive. Others of you will only be diminished by this crisis. You will emerge, once it is over, more heavily armored, less trustful, more cynical, and blocked off from every passageway that might have led you through the thicket toward the light. After more than 3 decades as your minister, I've witnessed both outcomes, more often than I can count. The word crisis possesses another illuminating meaning. In Greek drama, the crisis is not some outside event that brings the hero down. The moment of crisis is instead the moment of decision. What happens to us doesn't drive the plot toward tragedy or toward an uplifting resolution. It's how we respond that powers our plot and seals our outcomes. How we respond either saves us or leaves us languishing among the damned. One thing a crisis almost always forces us to do is change. We will either change for the better or we'll change for the worse. Facing new limitations on your lifestyle, one of you will pine away in a house of ruin. The woman sitting right next to you in the pew this morning may be rocked by the same circumstances to change her priorities and find meaning that before was hidden behind all the gloss and glitter. One will drown her sorrows in drink. Another choose this moment to stop drinking and look back on it as the most significant life-changing moment of his life. One, mortified by embarrassment, will isolate himself, cut his remaining lifelines and languish. Another will recognize her own tears in others' eyes, reach out, and connect. One woman, shaken from her accustomed routine by events she can only regret, will nonetheless find herself liberated from the rut she had been running in. Once she finds her footing, having always played it safe, she'll begin to take risks she never before had contemplated. Having sleepwalked through her recent life, she will awaken to old dreams or new possibilities. Why? Because a glass of cold water was thrown into her face. That's why. As it's been thrown into all of our faces. The same glass of cold water will leave some of you feeling insulted and victimized. Others will awaken and be refreshed. Most poignantly, perhaps, most painfully and sadly, some of you will take your fears and fashion them into a weapon to be employed against the only people over whom you still hold power, your loved ones. Others will transmute their suffering into empathy. You will feel other people's pain more easily because it so resembles your own. And escaping the bonds of self-absorption, you will reach out and lend a helpful heart to advance our common cause. All of this is difficult, of course, I know that. It's difficult for everyone, even for those of you who will emerge from this crisis reborn. Change is difficult. Can't help but raise the temperature of our lives. Can't help but foster fear. Anxiety and dread arise from the feeling of not being in control of the many frightening things that may befall us. All I can say to you is this: don't fight your fears. Outwit them instead. Turn your mirror into a window. Look out, not in. You see, the more we obsess on them, in fact, through our very attempts to control them, dread and anxiety take their purchase on our souls. Home becomes a moated castle, and the castle soon a prison tower. Life is reduced to a grim business. Our forays into the future at once manipulative and guarded. Fearing every further transition from certainty to uncertainty, we devote our full energy toward protecting ourselves against further loss. The more we fear, the more frightening life turns out to be. By the way, to escape the grip of self-imposed agony, you may need outside assistance. Don't think of this, please don't think of this as weakness or a crutch. When we fall, it takes more courage to ask for another's hand than it does to attempt lifting ourselves up by our own broken bootstraps.